Good morning, everybody. Yes, set's a little bit different. Usually it's the fireside chat, but obviously with the temperatures out there, and Logan came in this morning and said, "Holy hell! I cannot believe I'm in a place that at 8 o'clock in the morning it's already 82 degrees." And that's Arizona. So we decided to do the poolside chat today. So maybe this summer we'll do that. I apologize though because Logan was so excited when he heard about the poolside chat. He actually showed up in his Baywatch uniform. So I'm sorry that some of you are going to be disappointed that I made him change, but he made me look really bad. So we had to make him like wear regular clothes. But obviously wanted to introduce everybody to Logan. I know a lot of you have not had the opportunity to meet him, and he is new with the firm. I know he's been around and talked to a lot of people, but wanted to kind of give you a little bit of background on him, mainly because today is obviously Home Ownership Month. Obviously, home ownership is something that we impact and have a big impact on in the community. If you look at in the 22 years, we've had over 2 million hours helping people get into the home ownership here in our company. Just in 2020, we had over 9,600 people that we helped buy a home, and 2021 over 7,700. So obviously we have a huge impact on that. And before Logan came out, and the rates were a lot lower, so we had a bigger impact. But that's why we wanted to introduce everybody to Logan this month, was to celebrate the home ownership. So Logan, I want to also start off by saying I love what you've done to your office. Your office, if you guys get a chance to check out his office here at corporate, he's only here like I think once a month or something, twice a month, but he did some really cool stuff at the office. So
it's not an office anymore; it's the Love Shack.
Yeah. Well, Love Shack, casting room. It's got a lot of different names now.
If you're in the corporate office, make sure to come by and check out the Love Shack.
Yeah, definitely come by.
Yeah.
So again, hey, welcome. Obviously, you know, People's Mortgage. I gotta take these sunglasses off because it's like really weird for me to wear sunglasses. But you look really.
Should I take mine off or?
No, you can keep yours on all you want. I don't want.
I like to stay in character over here. Okay, you know.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah.
But obviously, knowing the company and all the interviews you went through, you know that we're very much a family, and we truly feel that way about everybody here. And really wanted to spend some time to get to know you because, like I said, a lot of people haven't even had a chance to meet you yet. And there's also a lot of people in the company that don't necessarily have interactions with you in the sense of your role versus their role.
Yep.
So want to make sure that people get an idea of who you are as a person, not just what you do, but where you came from, your background. So let's kind of just start off by kind of tell us where you kind of grew up and how you got into the business and where you're at right now.
Yeah, and first off, thanks for having me, Ron. Poolside chat is also a good thing to have today. Our interest rates are so hot, we need something to cool off in. So, but yeah, like Ron was saying, I'm new to the company. I started in January of this year, which also coincidentally is when the market started selling off. Faster than probably any pace in the past 30 or 40 years. So
yes,
it's definitely been a fun and wild ride. I know Ron jokes sometimes half-heartedly that, hey, everyone blames secondary, but, you know, it's okay. We're in the pool, so I can take the heat on that.
I was the first one to actually bust him about the rates when he came over to People's Mortgage, and they all of a sudden tanked. So I did give him a hard time. I did harass him quite a bit about it.
Yeah. So I guess the first question was my background.
Yeah. Where'd you kind of grow up? Where'd you grow up, and how you got into where you're doing now?
Yeah. So a long ways from Phoenix, Arizona. I grew up in Southern Virginia. If anyone's familiar with the Virginia Beach area, borders North Carolina. Went to college in Virginia as well at James Madison, so JMU. I don't think we have any fellow Dukes at People's Mortgage.
I don't think we usually hire people from there, but that's
yeah, you stay away from that. Yeah. So go Dukes if we do. If not, your guys' loss on that. But after college, I lived in Washington D.C. for about 8 years.
Oh wow.
Started off doing internal audit, and I absolutely hated it. So I was a finance major in college, and internal audit is more on the accountant side.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, no one likes audit people, so it's
or compliance people.
Yep.
Sorry, Katie, I know you're out there, but yeah, we don't like them either.
Yeah, so I was doing that for 2 years, and I actually had a roommate / really good friend who was a loan officer.
Oh.
At NVR Mortgage,
right.
And I was looking to get out of internal audit, and he said, hey, if I wasn't making so much money being an LO right now, this is the job I would take. I was like, sounds perfect for me. I like cheap labor. I'm all in. So that started my career in secondary. I spent 6 years at NVR Mortgage, all in secondary. and fell in love with it. I mean, I'm a numbers guy.
Right.
You know, I like to play guessing games, give out percentages. You know,
Absolutely.
my family members hate it because I'm always like, hey, what's the percent? And then they're like, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're throwing out this is a 15% chance. You don't know what's going on. And then, so worked for a builder-owned mortgage company.
Right.
And then I moved to Austin, Texas, which is where I currently live, and worked for DHI Mortgage, which supports D.R. Horton.
Right.
Worked for them for 2 years, also in secondary.
Right.
And then I wanted to run my own secondary department, so was just perusing LinkedIn and saw People's Mortgage on there. I knew nothing about People's Mortgage. I just saw it was located in Phoenix, and they were looking for a head of secondary, and I was like, that seems like a good opportunity. And then applied, came in and interviewed. It was a pretty intimidating interview. So
We were nice to you. Come on, it wasn't that bad.
I was only speaking with Sean at the time, and I came in, and it was basically like a firing squad interview. It was the whole executive team in
on
one
a Saturday.
room.
We made him come in on a Saturday.
Was it a Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday morning.
Yep, that's right. And then and Garrett talked the whole time, so I didn't really have to say much.
And everybody knows that is not possible,
Yeah.
right? Garrett would not take over the whole conversation.
I say it in jest, but it was probably 75% true. I did a lot of head nodding, like, yeah, okay, yeah, that sounds good to me. And yeah, that's how I kind of ended up at People's Mortgage. And I know some people who work at the corporate office don't see me that much. I was here a lot. I think the first 9 weeks I was here,
Yeah.
6 of those weeks.
Yep.
But basically I do a once a month schedule out here.
Right.
And then long-term plan is to eventually be here permanently, hopefully starting next summer.
Right. Yeah, and I'll tell you what, the interview process, we had quite a few good candidates, but Logan was by far the top one that we looked at as far as experience, fit with the culture of this company. It was obviously, which as everybody knows, that's big for us, is our culture, and felt like he was the best one for that that opportunity and that position. So tell me, I mean, obviously, secondary is secondary in a sense, like you're doing the trades, you're doing the stuff, but what was the transition like going from a builder-ran mortgage company to the retail side? Because we talk about that a lot, but let everybody knows kind of what you feel, because I think it's totally different than where you came from.
Yeah, it is. So I would say, working at a builder-owned mortgage company is a lot easier, right? The builder has the incentive. You know kind of what's coming down the pike. You know the business. It doesn't really fluctuate. So in the market today, the biggest issues for the builder is, one, getting people to qualify. We have that issue, but getting people in homes. They don't do refi business. So
Right.
I had never really done refi business. I had never really worried about where interest rates are going because we're getting our business strictly from the builder. And at those two shops, they didn't really do any outside business. NVR didn't allow it. DHI did 1 or 2%.
Right.
So, and then just the amount of programs that we offer here, because we have to offer all these refinance programs. So I come in, I'm like, oh my goodness, we have like 2,000 programs. So yeah, that was the biggest difference is, I really, now I'm like, hey, I want interest rates to at least stay level because, I care about our amount of production. Whereas before it's like, hey, that production's kind of steady. It's just, as long as the builder can build the home and we can get someone to qualify, it's all purchase business. So.
Well, I think that's also the other thing that's got to be different for you is from a builder's perspective, you pretty much have a good idea of your capture rate and what you have coming down the pipe in the next 45, 60 days versus in the retail. For you to be able to do trades, how hard is that in our era where we basically, 30 days out that we've got this kind of volume that's got to close?
Exactly, and even if someone falls from the builder side, normally these days they get someone immediately to come in and buy that home, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's a lot different hedging here. Normally, I would do like a trade in the morning because I know I'm getting this amount of locks today. You just kind of do on average. Here it's like, I'm not really sure how many locks I'm going to get day to day. MBS Highway could send out a lock alert, which I hate, by the way. And we could have 40 locks in one day, and then the next day we could have 5 locks.
Right.
So,
or you can have a day like today where you have the market really tanking again, or after yesterday, and you have 2. Right?
Exactly. Yeah, 2 so far today, and I really don't expect to get that many. If there's any LOs on the call and you feel like locking loans, send them in because I'm twiddling my thumbs over here. Now I'm kidding, but
You're
Ron
going to
was
be actually sitting in the pool with real water here in about 30 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, I might just drown myself. No, I'm kidding. But Ron was asking me before I came in, like, "Hey, are you still good to do the meeting today?" Because the market is obviously sold off. And I was like, we're not really getting too many locks in, so yeah, I'll be fine to do.
Well, and I think that we have 7-year cycles in our industry constantly. I mean, I always tell everyone it's a 7-year cycle, and obviously, this one has, I think, stuck around a little bit longer. We were kind of talking about it earlier. It's kind of stuck around a little bit longer just because it started at the beginning of January, and here we are 6 months later, just constant sell off, sell off, sell off. Where in the past you have a couple bad months, and then you start to see it flatten out and just level out, and we haven't seen that level out mark yet.
Yep.
And like you made that comment, like I wish I was around to see the crash in 2008, and I told you, I'm like, crash in 2008 happened really fast, but there was no business, so you didn't really care. Like rates kept going up and kept going up. You're kind of like, okay, no one's buying houses anymore because everyone's afraid. Like there's nothing going on anyways, and kind of that's some of that same aspect right now. But what do you see? I mean, obviously you can't predict the market, or you wouldn't be sitting in a fake pool. You'd be sitting on a beach somewhere.
Exactly.
But where do you truly think where we should end up? In a short term, meaning in the next 2 months, and long term, 6 months down the road. What do you think?
So I'm glad you didn't ask me day to day or week to week, because we might as well flip a coin at that. But Carrie Hughes just came in and asked me roughly the same question, because she and others have borrowers asking these questions.
Right.
Hey, where is this market headed? And I would be dishonest if I told you and I said, hey, I know exactly where it's headed. But there's a lot of people at the Mortgage Bankers Association, otherwise known as MBA, that are a lot smarter than me, and their full-time job is to be an economist. So
right.
I rely on them for, hey, where's the market headed? And if you look at their June 10th report, granted, this was before that bad CPI data hit the tape on Friday,
right.
before this massive sell-off, but they had interest rates for the rest of the year roughly staying level and actually improving in Q3 and Q4. Now, I'm talking improving by an eighth or a quarter.
Right.
And then if you look out further out for their projections for 2023 and 2024, they have them, again, staying relatively flat and improving slightly more.
Yeah.
So, I will lean on them for kind of those projections.
Right.
Because my job is for secondary is I never predict, I react to the market.
Absolutely.
So
well, and that's even the best economists out of the NBA, and I harass them all the time because I can still remember at 18 they were predicting mortgage rates in 19 and 20 to be at over 5%. And they weren't even close.
Yeah.
They weren't even close on that one. But obviously you also had the pandemic, you had everything else that impacted that. So I think a lot of it is, the projections are projections.
They are.
And and I agree. I think that the market should improve going into before November. I think with the midterms coming in, you typically historically you see rates come down a little bit. So I'm hoping that we kind of see something. But again, who knows?
Who knows? And I'll tell anyone, the average person has a 50% chance of predicting where rates are going.
Right.
Me and you, we're not that smart, so maybe we have a 40%
right.
chance. But
me and
you.
I'm 50, you're 40. Actually, I'll take the 30.
Yeah.
You'll take the 50.
Yeah. And I will tell them, the NBA, they're economists, they might have a 55 or 60% chance of being right, because, they're looking at forward projections. Everyone, the CPI data ran really hot on Friday.
Right.
They didn't project that.
Yep.
So, they're only as good as the projections they rely on in data. Hindsight's always 20/20.
Absolutely. With all the stuff that they're having to follow and everything else. And which is another thing that I think that I want to make sure everybody realizes, because I know this is some hard times for everybody as far as what we're seeing with the business and coming off the 2 best years in the history of the mortgage industry, to have it all of a sudden come down to a stop like this coming in January, February, March. Is a big adjustment, but there's a couple things to think about and to remember. Number one, when rates go down, home prices usually when rates go up, home prices usually go down, and vice versa. That obviously when there is some sort of a correction, which will probably happen at some point, that also creates a refinance opportunity for us as well. So there is light at the end of the tunnel. We all have to get through the storm. But obviously, I think this is still an opportunity for all of us to go out there. It's just you got to remember that you're not going to have the same volumes that you had in 2020 and 2021. But most of the people that have been looking at their volumes are pretty equal to where they were in 19 year to date today. Which 2019 was a great year as well. So now with that, obviously, are you with this? Because tell me some of the stuff that you're involved with the MBA right now as well.
So I'm on their secondary and capital markets committee. I actually have a meeting with them 30 minutes after we finish up with this. I'm also part of their Future Leaders program.
Nice.
Kevin is also doing
Yep,
that
Kevin
with me.
Caravan's doing it.
And then
Now, you guys aren't on the same team, are you?
No, my
No?
team's going to kick his butt. So
I love the challenge.
Kevin, I hope you're on this call.
He usually is.
And then I attend the NBA secondary conference, which was in New York a month ago, and then I attend their national conference as well, which this year is in Nashville in October.
Nice.
So at the conferences, I basically meet with our business partners, new business partners,
Right.
broker dealers that we do business with.
Awesome. That's great. And I think there's a lot of, those connections that you make in the NBA, really, because when I was and Sean and I were heavily involved in the NBA years ago, you met a lot of good contacts that gave you a lot of good information. Is that where you kind of really reach out to some of the other economists to kind of get an idea where the market's going? And
Exactly, yeah, and people. So when I do a trade, we work with broker dealers. So I will call them because they're the ones doing. They get my trades, but they also get thousands of other mortgage lenders'
Right.
trades. So they have a good idea of, hey, where the market's going in the short term.
right.
But yeah, I talk to economists through the MBA, and it's a great organization. If I know we're a part of it as a company, but you can also sign up individually and look at the same. I was talking about the rate forecast. They have that data right on their website. You don't need to be a member. You type in MBA.org forecast, and you can click open PDFs and see what's going on.
Yeah.
So,
and if there is anybody that wants to join that, obviously there is good opportunities and good networking. It's kind of like AMLA here, but it's nationally instead of just locally. So you get kind of a feel for across the country of what everyone else is facing as well, or seeing in the market as well.
Yeah, and I will say that everyone is kind of in shock with where interest rates are right now, but pretty much every mortgage lender prices how we do. So the same struggles that we're facing, we're facing all across the industry right now. So
well, and everybody else. I've been talking to people for the last week and a half, and they're all talking to their friends and everybody else, and they're all getting hit with the same thing. And the problem, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe you can explain it a little bit more, but when you don't have the par pricing, it's because of the lack of liquidity in the market for the mortgage-backed securities, correct?
Exactly, yeah. And to kind of try to put it in layman's terms is interest rates flow into coupons. Interest rates are always higher than coupons. Coupons are what the end investor gets. So this is probably one of the worst sell-offs in the past 20, 30, 40 years, looking over a span of 6 months. The industry isn't prepared for volatility that happens that quickly.
Right.
So what normally happens is you might have a slow hike in interest rates. What that allows is you slowly get these higher interest rate locks, which in turn make these coupons that I trade more liquid. So normally if we were to open up these higher interest rates, they would be flooded with locks. Normally that doesn't happen. Normally they trickle in, which allows liquidity to slowly gather. And right now, investors are very scared. The way borrowers get premium is investors pay premium for those higher note rates.
Right.
With the volatility, they don't want to pay that premium because they're not sure if there's about to be a refi boom next month. Because if you lock a borrower at, let's say, I don't want to scare anyone, but 7%, 6.5%, those are interest rates which could be par pricing very soon.
Right.
If you lock those borrowers there, and let's say an investor pays a 104 price, which is 4 points above par for that, they don't want to pay that, and then they basically don't get their return because if someone refis, that loan goes away for them.
Right.
So basically, they pay up, and in 6 months, that loan's not around.
Right.
Anymore.
Well, even for us as a doing the subservicing, if we don't service that loan for 4 years because of the upfront costs that we have,
Exactly.
we lose money on it. So that the whole market is all tied together with that same thing. And when rates go up this fast, like you said, there's that fear of having a refi boom, and then you're like, okay, well, I didn't service it for 4 years, I just lost.
Yep. And normally the market is a lot more flat and steady again, not as volatile. So what that tells investors is they roughly know the risk. Hey, the market's not bouncing around. I know if I pay this up, yes, here's the risk on it. Right now, they don't have a risk to kind of assign that high coupon. They're just unsure of where it's headed. So
plus how it's happening so fast too. Literally, 22 years that I've been in the business, I haven't seen it be this volatile for this long. Meaning where even this morning, it was plus 26. 2 hours later, it was minus 24, like a 50 basis point swing in a matter of 2 hours, and we're seeing that almost every single day now.
at one point yesterday, it didn't close this way, but it was like the second worst sell-off in 2 decades in one day.
Really?
So that just like kind of puts in perspective the things that we're dealing with.
Right.
And, I know it affects LOs, it affects me as well. I don't want things to be this volatile. It's hard to trade. It's hard to lock loans for LOs.
Right.
So,
yeah,
it's
well, none of us like it, but
no,
it's reality. It's
exactly.
a matter of how we get through and how we deal with it.
But eventually, I get the question a lot is, hey, when are we going to get par pricing? When's that going to come around?
Right.
And it's like, I could give you a better answer if the market didn't have these huge swings on a daily basis. Because if that keeps happening, then it's going to take longer.
Absolutely.
If it holds steady, which again, that's what the NBA is thinking is going to happen. But, as long as inflation is where it is right now, that's going to be very hard for us to not be as volatile. So,
Absolutely.
And one last thing before we kind of transition.
Oh, you're fine.
The Fed is meeting right now, and they have it's one of their dot plot meetings. So they have 8 meetings every year. 4 of them are dot plot, which means they basically give a projection of where the Fed funds rate will be over a period of time.
Right.
So they're going to make that announcement tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Because we are in Arizona time, which is Pacific time this year round. I found out that actually Arizonans don't know that. So you ask them what time zone it is, they're like, I don't know, we're in Arizona time.
Because the world revolves around us.
Logan, I hear that left and right around
I told you
here.
that,
So I forgot even where I was going, but we're in the Fed fund announcement. So it's coming out at 11 a.m. Arizona time, which is also Pacific time.
Right.
This time of year. Come November, you guys will be in Mountain time. Just
Arizona,
so we're on the same
time.
Yes. And then to make it more confusing, come next November is when daylight savings time is no longer a thing for the rest of the country. So you guys will permanently be on Pacific time next November of 2023.
Right.
But let me get back to what I was talking about, which was the Fed.
I thought I was interviewing Garrett there for a minute. Holy hell. Sorry, Garrett.
The Fed is coming out with an announcement at 11 a.m. tomorrow. And that is when they'll give their projections, and that's also when they will talk about the Fed funds rate increase, which, had we talked last week, it would have been, hey, it's basically 100% going to be a 50 basis point hike.
Right.
Now it's like, hey, it's a 90% going to be 75 basis point hike, which is why the market's reacting the way it is.
Right.
So also it's a blackout period for the Fed. So they really can't talk about anything right now. So there's been some news article leaks. We mentioned earlier, the Wall Street Journal came out 3 o'clock on Friday and said, hey, they're leaning towards a 75 basis point rate hike. So somebody wanted to get something out, and maybe they're using the media to kind of get it out because they're not allowed to talk about it right now. But if nothing was said and they came out on tomorrow and said 75 basis point hike, we might have had an even worse reaction.
Right. I
so.
agree. Well, and I think, I'm reading a lot of stuff and I follow it really closely as well. But, I'm hoping that, because right now there's a lot of controversy or comments being made about the Fed's doing too much too fast. And if they really are going to do 75 basis points now and then in the next meeting another 75 basis points, what that's truly going to do to the economy. And that's some of the stuff that I've been reading over the last couple of days. If the Fed's only do 50 basis points tomorrow, is the 75 basis points, do you think, is already built in? That's why we've seen what we've seen for the last 2 days?
Yeah, so the 75 basis point rate hike is already built in. So I would, again, I don't like to predict things, but if they announce 50 basis points, I would bet my money. Again, I'm not a betting man.
You have a betting. As soon as you come to Arizona, you turn on your betting app. What the hell are you talking about?
I live in Texas, and I can't do the phone betting in Texas.
But he's not a betting man. That's okay. He's not a betting man.
Yeah, so only in Arizona. So that's why I'm about to give out a prediction. Only in Arizona am I a betting man. So only 25% of the time. But if they announce a 50 basis point rate hike tomorrow, I expect to see a small rally.
Nice. Okay.
Now, I don't expect them to announce 50 basis points, but I'm only as good as the news articles I read,
I know.
So I think they're going to announce 75, and the market's priced that in, so hopefully it's a flat day, but anytime they make an announcement, like maybe it's 96% priced in, so maybe we have a small sell-off. Or maybe they announce 75, but say, hey, this is the only 75 one we're doing. Next one's 50. Maybe we get a small rally from that.
I was going to say, a lot of it is what they say, not just what their actions are. A lot of it is what they say, too, where you get the reaction on the market as well.
Yeah, and it's tough because Jerome Powell a few weeks ago said, hey, we're only doing 50 basis point rate hikes. That's what he said.
Yep.
So hindsight's always 20/20 with these things.
Right.
So,
Well, let's hope for maybe only a 50 basis points hike tomorrow.
Yes,
And
that
we'll
would
see some
be
sort of relief.
helpful. But then
Even
again,
just get some stabilization. Not that we need a huge improvement, but just some stabilization would be nice.
and the problem with that is, though, is, we talk about the market being so volatile. If they announce 50 basis points, we're going to have what I would think would be a huge reaction the other way with a rate improvement. So that just continues the volatility trend, which doesn't allow these higher coupons to come on board. So
Absolutely.
Who knows? Could we be better with a 75 basis point rate hike and things stay stable and those higher coupons come on?
Right.
Maybe.
Who knows? Exactly.
Yeah.
Lindsay, any questions so far?
You just actually answered the question
Oh.
that came out about
What was the
only,
prediction?
Yeah, what if they only do 50 basis points? So you kind of answered that.
I thought that's what somebody was going to say. See, I knew that.
You're a good interview.
Look at
You've
that.
had some
Look at
practice.
that. They have
Is
done
this
this
the
once or
third
twice
one,
before.
third one this year?
Yeah, but we did them all last year too.
Okay. Is this the only one we're drinking Coronas at?
Well, we drank vodka at Carrie's, didn't we?
Yeah.
No, she just kept saying the F-bomb.
Do we need to hold these up? Is this our sponsorship?
No, this is what we're going to end with. Seeing that you're going to have no locks
okay.
to do today because nobody's locking anyways.
Yeah.
And if you guys want to lock, you're going to have to may have to wait a little bit because he's probably still going to be sitting in his pool drinking the rest of these Coronas too. But.
Yeah, I'll have to. I'm sure you guys have seen my pricing's expired emails recently. So yeah, if we stay in here and drink some beers, we'll have expired pricing for a little bit.
As long as you're ready tomorrow, because
Yeah.
tomorrow could be a big day.
Tomorrow could be a huge day.
Yeah.
So
I want to kind of end kind of tell us. I know that we already went through all your history and everything else, but what are some of the hobbies that you like to do? What are some of the things that you like on a personal side?
yeah, so I just like being outdoors, working out, and running. I used to play beach volleyball.
Nice.
Since I've started here, I haven't had really the time.
Hence
to
the
do much of
Baywatch
that.
outfit.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know who Baywatch is.
Yeah, that was way before my time, Ron. Come on.
Oh my God! Really?
It wasn't. There was a new movie though, right? With what's the?
Yeah,
guy
go ahead.
called?
Tell me what you like to do, because really now I really feel freaking old. Like,
Yeah,
that's
I like
horrible.
to,
Baywatch.
I like to jog a lot. So I mentioned this
That's
morning
nice.
I went for a jog.
Yeah.
It was already 82 degrees out.
Beautiful.
Sweating my tail off. Out
No
there.
humidity though.
Yeah.
Go back to Texas.
Yeah, Texas is very humid. I like taking vacations. I like
Nice.
using my PTO.
Right.
So I've already been to Mexico this year. Going to Alaska next year.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then 2 years away, I know it's a long time, trying to go to Africa for a safari.
Oh, very cool. That'd be
So,
awesome. I'd love to do that
like
too.
taking vacations,
That's great.
when I can, and just being outdoors as much as possible. It's hard this time of year in Texas and Arizona because
Yeah.
it is very hot. You
Oh,
know, I mean, I come from Virginia, and I said I wanted to escape the cold. I lived in D.C. for 8 years. It doesn't get that cold there. It gets
Yeah.
cold enough where I'm a little uncomfortable. So I was like, I'll move to Texas. Gets a little chilly there in the wintertime. Nothing I can't handle. But then the summertime comes around, and when it gets above 100 degrees, that's pretty hot.
Yeah, but you get used to it. We had some new neighbors moved in next door, and they came from Washington, and we were asking them why they wanted to move here. It's because we want the heat. We want the heat. Well, yesterday I was out there and I was doing yard work and cutting down some stuff, and it was 6 o'clock, which was nice. And he looked at me and he's like, "What the hell are you doing yard work right now?" And I'm like, "What do you mean it's not bad?" He goes, "Okay, I got to definitely get used to the Arizona weather." I'm like, "Yes, you do, and you will. At some point, you will, and it'll be the same thing when you finally move here." Speaking of that, so I know you keep moving the date. So is it you or your fiance that keeps moving back the date of when you guys are actually going to move?
No, I think you guys just wanted me out here as soon as I was ready to be. So, yeah, next summer is our date. And I said, if I move out here, I got to have a pool. That's like a non-negotiable, and it's got to be
You
a little
can take
nicer
this.
one than this. Got to be a nicer one than this.
This was your signing bonus, right?
So,
here.
yeah, you know what? With the way the home prices are going, this might be the pool that I have to get once I move out here. Because Phoenix is one of the hottest housing appreciating markets in the country.
Oh yeah.
Austin's pretty high, Nashville's pretty bad. You get those small, like in I think Bozeman,
Yeah, that was big
wherever
one,
that
too.
is. Yeah, they're up like 40% or something.
It's from all the
insane.
people leaving California going there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that's happening here. It's happening in Austin.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's the plan. Is next summer to get out here, have a house with a pool. Now, if I can't find a house with a pool, we might have to delay it again.
Almost every house in Arizona has a pool, so
Yeah,
you'll be fine.
not a problem. But yeah, so far, I like doing my once a month here. It gives me a chance
Absolutely.
to travel. I'm sure you guys get sick of me after I've been here for a week.
No, we like to harass you. We love
Yeah.
you. I mean, if there's is there any other questions that you got?
I
No?
just want, are you okay with the pranks that these guys play?
Yeah, I'm a very
He's
friendly person.
I told you he was a
so-
good fit, and I mean, there was a couple other people that were on the radar for his position, but we're like, no, we have to have somebody that we can have a good time with that can fit with the culture. And he's got pretty thick skin because we've actually thrown a lot of shit at him, and he's been really good at it so far.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because I'm an econ nerd at heart. I'm a finance nerd. I love.
So half the time
secondary.
you don't get our jokes. Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, it just goes right over my head, so I just smile and laugh. But the secondary people I talk with, they are really introverts, and that's not really me. I'm an extrovert. I like to be around people, so
Absolutely.
it is nice to come out here and be I do miss the office now. I'm never one that wants to say I'll be in the office 5 days a week.
No.
But I do like to come in here face to face, joke around. I keep telling Don I'm going to play ping pong with him one day. But I hear a lot of yelling and screaming coming from that room, and I get a little intimidated. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how good my skills are.
Guys on.
So yeah, I might need to round up some scrubs to play with first to get my mojo and swag back before I challenge Don.
Actually, get on Don now because he's got a hurt Achilles tendon, so you might have a chance to actually get some practice in with him before he actually gets better.
That's what happens when you get old, Things start hurting.
Going with the old jokes again. Look at that. Don knows about Baywatch, I guarantee you.
Yeah.
No, hey, I wanted to tell you though, honestly, thank you for everything that you do. I know that I harass you a ton, and I know that you take it very well, but you have been a great add to the People's Family. You've been great for the position and what you do and what you bring to the position as well. So thank you for everything, and I'm glad that you're part of the family.
Yep,
so,
it's great to be here. It's a great company. I love being here. And before I leave, I know we've had a lot of turnover in the lock desk. So just to let everyone know, we have David, who's the lock desk manager, Matthew, who just started on Monday as our new lock desk analyst, and Tyler in servicing, if anyone knows him, he's actually helping us out part-time as well. So
awesome.
You'll probably see some new names coming up on the lock desk email. And again, any questions anyone has, send to the lock desk email. We're pretty responsive on there.
Yeah.
Whether it be interest rate questions, it's not returning right.
Should I lock today or tomorrow?
Yeah.
Can we send questions like that?
Yeah, you might get a funny meme back if you send something like that. We do like to play around the lock desk. So, and we also use Microsoft Teams a lot. So if something's urgent, give us a call and we'll get it taken care of, everyone. But yeah, we got some new team members. So don't be shy when you see a new name pop up on there.
Perfect. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys for all joining. Hopefully you got a good feel for Logan and his sense of humor, and he is a great fit with this company, and love the family. And thank you guys for all being here, and we'll do another one next month. So enjoy the summer. Be safe over the 4th of July, and stay out of the heat. Love you all. See ya.
And now we're going to drink these 6 beers, right?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's crack this bad boy open. Did you shut it off yet so Stan doesn't see? Stan might get mad at us, but I don't.
Cheers.
Cheers.